What is going on, Grinders? It's Chief. We are in the building. It's also TJ Zwarych, our good friend up in Saskatoon, Canada. TJ, what is going on, brother?
Pretty good day on the NFL main slate. Made a few $1,000s. Almost had a much bigger day. Was a 2v2 off of $1 million today. Lost about 3,000 on Jordan Mason for some reason, getting the ball on the last play of the game, up 17, and he goes for 25 yards, gets the 100-yard bonus, and that dropped me significantly, but still had a really, really profitable day today. So looking forward to diving into the Showdown slate.
Yeah, man, for sure. I'm going to try to do, TJ, I'm going to try to not click around too much. I'm just going to try to keep it basic. I'm going to keep my screen, my main screen, keep my lineup HQ screen, and go from there. Because I think I'm still in between this weird thing with the route. And I had a show today and everything was fine, but I don't know.
As soon as we get to QQs and stuff, then I'll take over, like bouncing back and forth and looking for them.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. And so what I'd like to do is we're going to try to get the particulars out of the way early so we can get to the real analysis. And one of the things, man, we almost made a splash today. Have you made your splash with Splash Sports? The revival is in full swing. Dive into another thrilling week of contests on Splash Sports, including the 10K RG Survivor Revival, along with a 5K fantasy tiers and a 5K ATS pick'em. It's now available in 34 states. Splash Sports dominates the peer-to-peer fantasy and betting scene. Head to splashsports.com/RotoGrinders and challenge the RotoGrinders experts community. Use promo code ROTO10 for a $10 credit after you've entered your first contest. We also want you to hop in the RG NFL Listener League. Last week's winner was Jamo Dab 2232. He took down the Week 3 Listener League. Don't forget to join in the fun each week with RG's Listener League and play along other viewers as well as your favorite hosts. I was in there and did terrible today. You have a chance every week to compete for first place and win yourself a month of RG Combo Premium. Check the description for an invite to the contest when it goes live on Wednesday. And folks, we want to get people in the door here at Roto Grinders. How are we doing that? We've got different packages. We've also got our new RG Combo Lite. Introducing the Combo Lite, our newest product gives you the power of simulation for a fraction of the price of other tools. Competitors charge hundreds, and I do mean hundreds a month, for their sim products. Combo Lite is just $39.99. And it includes our SimLabs lineup building tool, plus content from some of your favorite DFS analysts. I may even be in there. Not sure. Combo Lite doesn't limit you to one sport either. It includes SimLabs access to 4 of the most popular sports. That's MLB, NFL, NBA, and PGA. You won't find a more cost-effective option anywhere. Folks, we are hopping right in. TJ, let's go to the captain position. What are we doing at captain tonight? On DraftKings specifically, we'll designate some time for FanDuel.
So Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are sucking up all the captain ownership, which I think they should. I actually, outside of that, though, I kind of disagree with where projected ownership is landing. Not saying it's wrong, saying I would do things differently, and I think the field is off if that's correct. And what I mean by that is I prefer Josh Allen to Lamar Jackson. I actually rather Josh Allen in this spot. I think he's the better captain. I think for raw points, I would prefer him by just a little bit. And then the next two highest projected owned are also both Baltimore players with Zay Flowers and Derrick Henry. I don't really like either of them in the captain position either. I would rather go down to James Cook, Khalil Shakir, or somebody who's just super cheap, gets spicy, and take a shot. So I'm on the Josh Allen train here. He's my favorite captain. Single entry, he is what I would do. 2 entry max. I think I might even, like, in 3 entry max, I probably would just go 2 Allen and 1 Lamar Jackson. And so I agree with those two soaking up most of the ownership there. I do think there are ways you can differentiate. Cook, Shakir would probably be my top 2, but I'm okay with Kincaid, Keon Coleman, if you want to get spicy with it. But Josh Allen is definitely my undisputed number one top captain.
Absolutely. Folks, listen, I'm going to make you guys laugh. I thought something was going on with my internet because this has happened before. We have a big storm, and then the internet, we just need to refresh the router. And myself and TJ, before the show, I refreshed the router. We were sitting here wondering, how in the world am I able to stay live while refreshing the router? I said, why is my internet acting so weird? I went to my little icon here, and I'm hardwired. I went to my little icon. My internet was actually connected to my wife's iPad from a mobile hotspot because I used that when the internet wasn't working during the storm. And so I guess it never disconnected. So I'm sitting here wondering, why is this suddenly acting up so terribly? Well, it pays to discover. Needed to actually connect to my real internet service. And I think we're going to be off to the races, TJ. I think we're good to go from here on out. I'm probably clear to click around like never before. All right, TJ, let's talk through. You talk about your captures. Let me ask you this question. I feel like building a showdown, if you build with a game script in mind, typically you can come out ahead if you nail the game script, right, TJ? Like, yeah, some things can go wrong, but if you nail the game script, I think typically you can come out ahead. Why don't you do the game script for this game in general? Like, you're watching the game, you're playing it out of your mind right now. Outside of the DFS spectrum, how do you see this going? Do you see Baltimore's ahead early and Buffalo's coming from behind? Do you see it dead even? Do you see Buffalo ahead and Lamar's trying to climb back in? What are your thoughts about the game script here?
I see Buffalo going out ahead here and Baltimore trying to come from behind. I think it's going to be kind of one of two ways going. I think it's going to be kind of one of two things here, but both center around. I don't think Baltimore's defense is going to be able to stop Buffalo's offense. I think Buffalo's offense is going to have a pretty easy time scoring today. Now, I think this will either be one, Buffalo gets ahead and Baltimore will have to throw a lot to try and catch up, or I think Baltimore's game plan will be a very specific, let's run the ball a ton, let's keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands and just try and play ball control game and try and just soak up the time of possession. And so either way, I don't think their defense is going to be able to stop Buffalo's offense, which is why I like Josh Allen the most at the captain, with Lamar number 2, and then not Baltimore players, but Buffalo ones next, Cook and Shakir.
Yeah, I must say in this particular game, this is one of those interesting ones where both of the quarterbacks are going to soak up a lot of the captain ownership, and for good reason. Usually, TJ, I'm more of a wide receiver captain option, depending on, well, let me say it's depending on the slate. And as long as they're not like overly expensive. But, I'm with you. Baltimore is at home. I'm going to give Baltimore a little bit of the nudge here in my particular builds. But either way, that means Josh Allen needs to get cooking here, right? Like, if they're behind, he's going to have to push the issue. So let's hop into wide receiver. Let's start at wide receiver. I don't plan to play any defense tonight. If defense is burying me, and once again, I'm just not a guy that likes to play defense on Showdown. And I understand, like, there's going to be 1 to 2 slates a year where the defense might be a winner, but I'll live with those results long term. Let's head over to wide receiver, because I think we're obviously playing both quarterbacks. Wide receiver, who are your favorites top to bottom?
Yeah, so I think Khalil Shakir is going to be the number one priority for me. Zay Flowers is great, but I just am having trouble getting to that $8,600 price tag. And so I am prioritizing Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, and Rashad Bateman over him, as opposed to going all the way up to 8,600. And then I do really like I think both Curtis Samuel is fine, Nelson Aguilar is fine, but I'm doing a lot of Mac Hollins, Marquez Valdez-Scantling here at the bottom tier. Scantling played way more snaps than he's played all season last game. I think that was partially due to some funky stuff happening with Keon Coleman snaps, but even when Coleman started coming back into the game after the first quarter, when he sat out, Valdez-Scantling was still there on the field. So Hollins and Valdez-Scantling, and while they don't really do much, they both are guys who can, as long as they're on the field, they could knock off a 50-yard touchdown at any point. And if that happens at that price tag, they're going to need them. So I really like both of those guys at low ownership in this spot.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm a little with Coleman, like what I'm a little leery of Coleman. He's had a weird kind of up and down season that he is a rookie. I get it, right? And I guess that's what makes him a really good tournament play. I mean, because when you look at his price, he's really not that expensive. I mean, he's 6,600, but everybody I feel like in this price range, like even Dalton Kincaid, from Dalton Kincaid on down, outside of the kickers, TJ, I feel like everybody's suspect. I don't trust anyone. So maybe let's hone in on.
I don't trust Justin Tucker either. He's washed.
Yeah, well, hopefully they continue to let him kick. Let's just go there. Hopefully they continue to let him kick. So let's talk through that since we're here. Not necessarily wide receiver, TJ, but cheap players in general. And right now I am talking about Keon Coleman, Dalton Kincaid, and under, because no one's projecting incredibly well in a general sense. No one's like got this, blow it out of the roof projection. But who do you like the most here in this cheap range? Who do you feel like has a shot at helping you win $1 million tonight in this lower range? It felt like it's been the kickers the past couple of weeks, I must say. But what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, Tyler Bass will be a priority for me, but kind of like I said before, I'm going to be, just so I can play as much of Allen, Jackson, one of Cook or Henry in basically every single lineup that I play, I'm going to be loading up on these extra cheapies. So MVS, Dawson Knox, Mac Hollins, Ty Johnson, a little bit of Ray Davis, a little bit of Aguilar. But in the just under 7K tier, I do really like Coleman. I think this is a great chance for us to get a ownership and price discount on him because people are scared away from last game. But they said after, they didn't report it before, but they said after he was dealing with some kind of in-team mini suspension because he broke some kind of team rule. And so he had been leading the team in wide receiver snaps before last week. I think there's a good chance he could get right back to that. So I absolutely love Keon Coleman for tournaments. I'll take shots on both Andrews and Likely. I don't really have a preference. I really like Justice Hill. He's one of my favorites at 5,400. But I don't really trust Tucker right now. Both the tight ends are tough to trust. Bateman, he's apparently always open, but he doesn't get very many receptions. Aguilar, it's either he's getting a bomb or nothing. And so that's kind of why I just want to go to the super cheap guys, because we don't have trust in any of them anyways. So I'll just save salary and then load up on the expensive tier.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get it. I'm gonna tell you someone that I like in this range, or let's just call it the cheaper range, and it's not an unobvious thing. I think it's the kickers. I feel like they're more stable than anyone, and I know Justin Tucker feels like he's falling off of a cliff, but I don't think he's dead just yet. I think they will give him his opportunities. I feel like the kickers have a lot of value in this game tonight. I don't mind a Ray Davis if they're going to give him some random carries. Maybe if he falls in the end zone and rushes for 30 yards, TJ, then that's almost 10 points at 2,800. I think I think that's perfectly okay. So hopping back in, let's go specifically to running back, where you've got Henry and Cook, who are the lead dogs. But both of these teams, I know you talked about Justin Hill, both of these teams have like a guy that's kind of behind the other guy right now, where James Cook has Ray Davis and Derrick Henry has Justice Hill. How are you feeling about the running back situation in general?
Yeah, Justice Hill is definitely going to be way above the backup running backs for me in terms of Buffalo guys, because Hill is the clear third down back there. They use him in 2-minute drills. They like him as a pass catcher, whereas Tyler Johnson's actually probably the pass catcher third down role when they don't just leave Cook in there for Buffalo. And then Ray Davis is almost just a straight Cook is really tired or we're up by a lot of points. Let's throw him in there. And so since Davis and Ty Johnson kind of split the backup stuff, I prefer going to Justice Hill on the Baltimore side. And then because I think Cook will get more snaps than Henry, and I think Buffalo will lead this game, I like Cook more than Henry.
Okay. Totally get it. So for me, let me ask you this, TJ. I feel like Derrick Henry has a pretty stable rushing attempts floor. You get what I'm saying? Like, even in some of these weird games where it felt like they just weren't using him, he still had like 16, 17 carries. And so, the most they could do is start getting him consistently over 20 rushing attempts. You look at the games this season now, and I get it. Like what they're doing, TJ, is they're not giving him a whole lot of passing work options. Like we know that's Justice Hill. But outside of the Kansas City game, we're 3 games in, 18 carries in the Las Vegas game, 25 in the Dallas game. And obviously in the KC game, it was a little bit more pass heavy. And so is that kind of your lean where you think they might have to be pass heavy, a little bit more pass heavy down the stretch, which is going to affect him?
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly what the boat that I'm in. I think Buffalo's going to run away with an early lead. And so that is why I would kind of stay away from Henry. I do think it's very possible, though, that Baltimore tries that kind of slow it down, don't let Buffalo touch the ball type of strategy. And if that's the case, I do like playing Henry in the kind of lineups that have both kickers, that kind of thing.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. I like it. We've talked about kicker. We've talked about wide receiver. Everybody knows to play both quarterbacks. We've even talked about running back. I don't plan to play defenses. TJ, are you playing defenses?
Nope, I don't. I'm playing 20 lineups tonight. I don't have a single defense.
Okay, let's hop over to FanDuel, TJ. A little bit of FanDuel specific, because I know, I know people are going to be asking about that. So in terms of FanDuel, like what are you doing there, if anything, that's different from how you might want to approach this on DraftKings? I know sometimes the salaries kind of have this weird flip where a receiver or two might be a little bit too cheap, or, kind of a different situation. So what's your strategy there on FanDuel tonight?
So, like I said before, for DraftKings, I feel the same way for FanDuel, where I am going to prioritize Josh Allen over Lamar Jackson in the MVP position. I'm hoping that I think there is going to be a pretty big difference between the two. I think I trust Allen a decent amount more, despite Lamar Jackson having the higher ownership projection. And the higher raw points projection. And so I do hope that going Josh Allen instead would get me a decent amount different, but he's undeniably my favorite MVP. I don't think, even if I were playing 150 lineups, I don't think I would have any MVP outside of Jackson, Allen, Henry, and Cook. I'd be tempted to just do Jackson and Allen, but I probably would add Henry and Cook too. But those would be the only 4 people I would consider an MVP. If I'm doing Cook or Henry, I'm making a very specific lineup that I think one of the team blows out the other one, and which leads to a lot more carries. And so that's how I want to play it, kind of like an onslaught. But Josh Allen is going to be my guy here at the MVP position.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. I think that's a good strategy to have. TJ, usually, I know we try to pull in what we call our spicy plays of the day. Do you have anything that's spicy, TJ, that you might want to plug in tonight?
So really on both sites, Keon Coleman getting significantly overweight on him would be my favorite option. Only 8K on FanDuel. I like him even more there than I do on DraftKings. I think he's very dynamic, and so we're not worried about, like, he may not get a ton of catches. That's not as big of a deal on FanDuel, where it's not point per reception. And like, there's a $3,000 difference between him and Coleman and Samuel on FanDuel. There's a $1,000 difference on on DraftKings, $1,000 difference dollar difference on FanDuel. So Keon Coleman here is my favorite play by far. I think he's significantly underpriced. Shakir in the mid-range would probably be the guy I would be looking to prioritize the most. But if I were building a lineup on FanDuel, my start would look a lot like this, where I plug Allen into the MVP. I go Jackson. I find my salary savers, Keon Coleman, and then one of either Curtis Samuel, Justice Hill, or Rashad Bateman are the next guys that I'm probably putting in there. And then if I go with Bateman or Samuel, it allows me to afford a guy like Shakir. And so all of a sudden there's a lot of great correlation, Shakir or Kincaid, and it gives me a lot of great correlation with Josh Allen at the MVP. So Allen at the MVP, stack up Buffalo, and then choose one of Bateman or Justice Hill would be my favorite ways to build on FanDuel.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. And what we're going to do, TJ, we are going to now start hopping into some questions. We really appreciate you guys for joining us. Give me a second. I've got to get I'm pulling up the live stream chat. The reason that's closed, I thought, anytime my internet set up, I typically start closing things that could be pulling on the signal, TJ. So I'm getting the Discord back open right now. It's only going to take me a few seconds here. I've already clicked the button. So, the live stream Discord should be popping up shortly. Great. I am in the Roto Grinders Discord. I'm headed to the live stream chat. And as we come down here, I don't have anything, but Dan Jan 45 is typing. So he says, go through a DK single entry build. I guess we haven't done that specifically. If we have time, Dan Jen, yeah, we'll do it. So you go ahead and pull that up, TJ, and I'll start looking through. That's the only thing we have in live stream chat. And we don't have a ton in the YouTube chat either. So hopefully that means we're doing our jobs well. Jacobs asked about he wants to hear about some of the props I'm on tonight. And they kind of started pulling some of these things. So it's very interesting. Like they pulled some of the Josh Allen stuff I was looking at. They pulled some of the receptions props I'm looking at. So this is very interesting that they've pulled these. Brian Marshall says, what about fading Lamar completely in DK GPPs? Believe it or not, I don't hate that if you're playing Josh Allen. But, I really think you probably should play both quarterbacks tonight. That's really what I honestly think.
Yeah, I'm with you. This is probably my favorite way to start a DraftKings single entry today. Josh Allen at the captain. You get a little bit getting different from the majority of the field with Lamar Jackson will be the most popular one. I would go Samuel and Cook. I think those are they're the best point per dollar projected plays for their ranges. I guess before I was looking at the blitz, Henry is a little bit better than James Cook over here, but I like going Cook in as my favorite expensive option. And then if you go all the way down to Curtis Samuel, who is the best cheap point per dollar play, it gives you a lot of options for these last two spots. You can go kickers. You can go Rashad Bateman, who projects very well in the Roto Grinders projections. You can go with one of these really cheap guys like Hollins, Knox, Valdez Scantling, which would then allow you to spend up for a Kincaid or a Shakir. So this is for single entry, this would be the way that I would go.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all, TJ. I don't hate that at all. I think for me, if I'm going to say anything about the build tonight, I just think playing both quarterbacks is optimal strategy, and then you just figure it out from there, right, TJ? Like that's the decision. You play both quarterbacks, you figure it out from there, and as long as those guys do what they're supposed to do, I think you've given yourself a chance to be in the number, right, TJ? In the end, you've given yourself a chance, possibly at the end, to sneak into $1 million.
And I think by playing the MVSs, the Knoxes, the Matt Collins, one of these super cheapies, you're allowing yourself to get different enough than the field anyways.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. Going back to the live stream chat, I just want to make sure we don't have any questions. Okay, so this is coming from Yaz's Army. Thanks, Yaz. We see you around here a lot. Guys, in a DK I am going light on the running backs in a 20 max. Is that viable, or am I crazy? I think it's relative, but I feel like I'll say this and I'll kick it over to TJ. For me, if you've got both quarterbacks, I don't mind you being light. And for me, that means maybe I take one or the other, but I'll never take both in the same lineup. And maybe that's a viable way to win tonight, but I don't plan on doing that. TJ, how about you?
I do have some that are both in the same lineup, and it's because I'm doing I have a couple spicy takes, Will, and that's a few shots that, they're probably going to lose, but if one of these cheapies catches a 50-yard bomb, maybe I don't. And so I have a few MVS captain lineups in the Millie Maker with Cook, Henry, Jackson, Allen, all four of them.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I understand, and that's why I'm saying it could be one of those situations where it works. It really could be. Because to me, this is a weird slate to me, TJ. This isn't it's exciting on paper, but I don't see the extreme value in this showdown slate in general, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think it does. I think there are some really strong potential values, but I think they are incredibly volatile. Robbie in chat saying, "What Millie Maker?" You're absolutely right. It's 300K to first, a pretty weak contest tonight. I just kind of always, in my mind, accidentally refer to it as the big contest to that.
Yeah. Sorry about that, Robbie. We didn't mean to steer anyone the wrong way, man. We're not trying to, we're not trying to do that. We're not trying to do that. So I'm looking JMVP, our good friend JMVP in the live stream chat. He says, Jets, double kicker possible with both running quarterbacks on FanDuel. Double kicker actually might be spicy tonight, TJ. That actually might be spicy.
Well, it's always in play this season, I think. Kickers, as much as people hate it, they are always in play right in this version of today's NFL.
Yeah, for sure. Oh boy, TJ, I'm trying to.
These guys, DraftKings knows what they're doing. Of course, I get all my NFL winnings from the main slate 5 minutes before the showdown slate starts, and so it makes me want to be entering more into the showdown. That's by design to try and get that in as quick as possible. Get it in there to make sure people just lose all their money right back here. But I'm not going to spend too much of it. I'm going to make sure I do a nice little withdrawal from this one because this is my first decently big win of the year.
Yeah, I got you. Listen, I mean, I think we're pretty much. Butto says, "Will weather be a factor tonight?" He was asking you specifically, TJ. Is weather going to be a factor tonight?
I am not considering it at all. Maybe it's a little ugly, but these are two good teams that are used to playing in not so great weather and don't really have issues with it. They can run the ball. They can short pass. Both QBs can run. So I'm not really worried about it.
Understood. I'm just trying to make sure. Justice Hill MVP. I don't think so. QQ, and that was Chris Longo asking that question. Derek says QQ, DK, GPP, Allen captain, Hollins or Knox in the flex.
I like Hollins. I think he projects Knox projects a little bit better, but Hollins is coming in and I think half the projected ownership is Knox, so I would probably do that.
Ooh, I actually might like Knox, but either way, both are. These aren't. shall we say, high floor plays at all. I'll leave it at that.
I thought we hit the lock
high-floor
already. I
plays.
did not realize this wasn't until
8:20. We got 5 minutes. 8:20, man. We've got 5 minutes. You pulled a me number. You pulled a me number. We're good. We are good. So I'm looking. Jacko says, "Go have that casserole." I actually had some. It was actually a sweet potato casserole, and it was really good. Had that with some chicken and other vegetables. So yeah, there you have it.
Might just have to get out of here a little bit early. We've answered all the questions. I think we gave the people what they wanted to know.
Yeah, I think we have. So that feels good for me. TJ, if you're ready to head out, I'm ready to head out. Guys, we appreciate you for joining us. We've tried to get all those questions. And for those of you that like the spice, keep hanging out with us. We'll keep dropping the paprika. We'll keep dropping the pepper. We'll keep dropping all the seasoning. Devin is even in the building. We appreciate you guys. This has been the Showdown Pre-Lock Show. We'll see you back here next week.